Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Night of the Podcast.
Hello, everybody. I want to take a brief moment to welcome all of you to what I'm sure will be a calming and reserved and just low-key episode of Dark Night of the Podcast, talking about a movie that's not going to get too game and excited by any means. If there's one thing I would expect we would talk about a lot here, but sadly we just don't have the opportunity because of the genre we're working with. Is dongs, is like talking about dongs. I think one thing Troy and I would do very well with is talking about male genitalia in Bounty if we have the opportunity to, but it never comes up. And when's it going to come up when you're on Dark Night of the Podcast? How often do you get a fine piece of man dong in a movie? It's rare. It's becoming more common thanks to people like Troy and I. I mean, get ready for a lot of them because we're starting a movement. We're starting the long dong movement of 2025. But Troy, I got to throw something at you with this movie because I don't think you knew this. I had never seen this film.
I kind of figured that.
Did you know that?
I believe I mentioned this film to you a while ago, and you're like, "Oh no, I haven't seen that." I'm like, "Yeah, you got to
Right.
check it out," because when I first saw it, it really just blew me away. Honestly, with the boldness of it. I saw it when it first came out in 2017, so there was just nothing like it. And I thought kind of at that point, the rape revenge subgenre was tired. People didn't want to see that anymore. So to have this film come out and be so bold, it really just, like I said, blew me away the first time I saw it. But yes, back to dongs. I mean,
Dongs. Oh, you want to talk more about dongs? Let me lend my ear, friend.
but we see a dong in this one, a pretty nice dong. I guess that's the one reason for gay men to watch this, is because you get that beautiful man, Kevin Jansen, I believe is the actor's name, and he is stunning. And I will take seeing his dong any time of the day.
Well, yeah, listen, you say the one reason for a gay man to watch this. I'm going to say right now, maybe it's just the timing. Let me say this. Right now, with just things as they are, I needed this film. I'm going to say it. Watching this film was so satisfying because, not only are you getting a great female protagonist, which gay men thrive off of, we live for it. You're getting a female protagonist who is an underdog. You are getting somebody who you are not anticipating would have the ability to rise up in the face of evil to the extent to which this character does. And seeing that, there's something about that, watching that, this first time I got to sit down and watch this movie. Talk about satisfying. Troy, talk about satisfying. Woo!
It's definitely one of those good for her films, right? And I think that's, again, what makes this film, I think, so bold and unique is, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but I could be wrong here, but I think this is one of the, if not the only, rape revenge film directed by a female. And you can definitely tell that there is a lot of female influence on this film, and where a lot of rape revenge films get a lot of criticism for lingering on the actual moment of sexual violation. This one actually does the complete opposite and does not do that. And I think that was very smart of the director. And I think it's definitely a very female kind of instinct to not show the brutality of the rape. Because, we are in a culture now, Roger. I mean, we've lived through a ton of shit. I mean, and we're living through a ton of shit now. And we just went through like the Me Too movement. And I know throughout the Me Too movement, being a film guy myself, and you as well, and just a horror buff, there was a lot of like, all of a sudden, a lot of like harsh criticisms of films like I Spit on Your Grave, films like Irreversible, that are rape revenge films, but also like seem to just bask in the violence of showing the woman being brutalized. And again, I think it was refreshing that this film sort of just, I mean, it's horrible what happens to this character, but it's not gratuitous. We don't see it happen. It's not lingering on it. I mean, you think of like that rape scene in I Spit on Your Grave, or Irreversible, for crying out loud. Roger, have you ever seen Irreversible?
No.
Oh my God, that fucking rape scene goes on and on and on. And even something like low budget, like Gutter Balls. Gutter Balls is a super low budget indie slasher flick, takes place at a bowling alley, probably has the most brutal rape scene I've ever seen on film. This did not linger on. And I think you got to pay props to the director. And the reason I picked this film, we'll get into it, is because 2024, Roger, was all about the substance.
That was.
And Demi Moore, and the Oscars are here in 2 weeks. And guess what? The director, Coralie Fargeat, is nominated for Best Director. This right here, Roger, her first film.
I am so happy to see the influences from this film that carried through into what was the substance, because it's clear she has a very defined style. It's clear she knows what she's doing. It's clear she likes bold topics approached from a female standpoint. That's what's so refreshing about this film to me, is because, like, you're right. You know, coming into this, I was anticipating rape revenge, and I was really expecting that uncomfortable rape scene, which I'm not someone, I don't know about any of you people, but I'm not on the hunt for a quality rape scene. Like, I looking to have that be something that's a necessity for a film that I view. If it happens, I'll sit through it. If it amplifies the story in some way, like, okay, I get how we're trying to get to this state of mind very quickly because this very horrible thing is happening to this person that's really going to clearly change them completely as who they are at their core moving forward. And you want to see that revenge. I like seeing that person get to rise up, but I hate having to go through the experience with them. And so, yeah, like, I mean, the fact that this was put in the hands of a woman, that this was conceptualized by a female, it comes through. It's so clear. And what this is really about is about the satisfying, just the satisfaction of watching. I've been watching Wicked, so I'm making up words in general. But you know, I was sitting down and watching this young woman, like I said, rise up in the face of evil against like a very small cast of characters. One thing that I think does this really well, like as we're starting to get into the review, is like, this is not a film that's bogged down by a massive cast. It is a small, intimate cast, but holy shit, do you get to know these people more than you, I think, even anticipate. And they are all played so well that the characters that you're supposed to hate, you hate them. And the characters you're supposed to root for, you want to root for them. And I think that these could be caricatures in a way. Like, you see these same characters in a lot of these films. In the way it's structured, there's always a leader. There's always one who's kind of like derpy. There's always one who's like the second command. And then you've got this strong gal, who's coming up and defending herself against them. That tends to be a common formula that you see in these movies, but somehow they make these characters feel really fresh and really real. They are very human, very flawed characters. And I think that one of the reasons this film succeeds is because it lets you like into their world for a brief moment. You really get to see these people at play and just how detestable some of them can be. So I think because it's handled by a female, these male characters are seen from that angle, and it feels very accurate. It feels very purposely, very, very intentionally depicted the way that all of these characters, and especially these men, are written.
Yeah, I mean, the film is dripping with misogyny, and you're watching this film, and for me, like the second time watching this film, I was in the mindset of, okay, a female directed this. How would this be different if a male filmmaker would have made it? And I think one of the things that really came through this time were all of these little moments between Jen and these guys that are like so on one hand so innocent on her part. Do you know what I mean? She's acting out of pure like innocence and kindness and stuff, and then on the flip side, the guys are taking this or taking her actions and taking what she's doing or how she looks and digesting it in a way, and then outputting like these just very like misogynistic things they say, glances. There's a lot of really uncomfortable moments between characters, and it's because this female director knows and has probably been in a position of being made uncomfortable by a man, and she knows like how long to linger on a facial expression or how long to linger on someone uncomfortably touching someone. I mean, it just comes through in spades with this film.
She has a very stylized way of not just filming and like, you know, the overall, the framing of all of her shots are very, very intentional, but she also is like a really, really awesome way of editing and transitioning moments. And I do like that she is a director who's not scared to like lean into the fantastical elements while still keeping a film feeling very rooted in reality. You know, like obviously what happens in The Substance, which we will be covering on a Patreon episode very soon here, because it is a new title. But obviously, like that's a film that becomes quite fantastical. This film is nowhere near as fantastical, but there's a couple of moments where she makes some very bold, stylized choices with her editing, some like hallucination moments where it involves like animals and different visuals that kind of just build into just how detestable these male characters are. Sound effects are another thing that she uses to her strength, like the amplified sound effects. You get that in The Substance with the shrimp scene. You have a scene here that, again, similar in concept with this guy eating this goddamn nougat. Me some nougat. Sign me up for some nougat after seeing that portly man chowing down on that. He loves it so much. But you know what? It's kind of full circle concept here. It's great to see her understand what her strengths are. And from here to The Substance, it just became so much bigger, so much bolder. For this to be, is this her first film? Like
this was her first feature film. Yeah,
oh, Lord. Let's buckle up, Troy. Put on your earrings. Let's get ready to go.
I mean, yeah, probably in my opinion, probably one of the best directorial feature debuts of the last 25 years. Let's just put it out there. I mean, this film, again, I just adore this film. I'll be 100% honest with you. This film, like I said, just blew me away when I first saw it, and watching it again, I'm just like, wow, it's even more special now. We'll get to some of these parts because there's a specific part in this scene, Roger, that I think you may know what I'm talking about, but oh my God, it is the most, we'll get there.
There's like several moments like that, though, is the thing. Like there is one that, yeah, but I mean, there are several moments you could be talking about. I'm so excited to talk about this movie with you.
But let's get into it, guys. If you haven't picked up on it, obviously we're talking the 2017 French film Revenge, directed by Academy Award nominee Coralie Fargeat. And again, the opening shot of this film, I think, is just a piece of art. It's just stunning. Like this film, you're right. This film, much like Hollow Lake, much like I'm going to throw that out there because we've been having some good times with Hollow Lake lately, guys. A lot of good stuff is happening. So, but much like Hollow Lake, this takes place on a very one location, although Hollow Lake has more than one location, but primarily one location at a tiny cast. There's literally 4 main characters throughout this film, and then one very secondary character, Roberta, who pops up. But right from this opening shot, the beautiful Moroccan desert and the beautiful mountains, and you just get this still shot, and all of a sudden, you're right, Roger, the sound effects, you hear the slow building of the helicopter, and then all of a sudden helicopter comes over the mountains and just comes right into the camera. It is such a beautiful way to start this film.
Yeah, it opens on a bold note, and one of the things I noticed right away was the almost amplified sound effects. I think they really are intentional with starting this on this helicopter shot. I don't think I was expecting to come in on something that felt quite so glossy. Like everything I've seen of this film, which has been pretty limited, aside from some great poster art, has made it feel like this is probably going to be kind of a gritty, like bootstrappy survival film. And like, no, like this opens with this like great shot in the reflection of his sunglasses as it pulls back. And it feels very like, just like I said, like heightened reality, very polished. Like, even though they're set in the middle of this gorgeous desert, there's still an element of gloss to this film that I think comes with the feminine eye that's directing it. It just feels very very high end and very pretty. Very pretty. Very pretty movie.
Yeah, it is. And I love I love the shot through his sunglasses, and then the camera kind of pulls back a little bit and you see who is our protagonist, Jen, behind him, just licking on that lollipop. And I think that it's such a unique way to introduce this character, because it's very intentional. Like, it is very intentional that the filmmaker here is really trying to, I don't want to say trick, but I'll use that word, trick the viewer into thinking that Jen is a specific type of character, right? It's the ditzy blonde, sucking on that lollipop like she's Paris Hilton, has the beautiful hair. She's wearing that little mini skirt. I mean, she is a walking Barbie doll, and it is very intentional. You watch all of her movements, everything she does when she's first introduced, and it is very clear the director is trying to mislead you at what type of character this is. And it's very smart, honestly. Yeah, I mean, the helicopter lands, and she gets off of the helicopter with who we found out is Richard, who she's having an affair with him. Let's put that out there. She's his side piece. And for the weekend, he comes to this remote, beautiful fucking house with that fucking affinity pool in the middle of the desert, and he for a hunting trip. And he decides he's going to bring his side piece, Jen, along. So they get off the helicopter. We get this brief moment with Roberto, who gives him a little, he says it's a welcome back gift. And it is a little baggie of peyote, I think is what they call it. It's a
peyote.
Yeah, hallucinogenic drug.
Mm-hmm. Peyote, yeah. It's something that is like very like, it has a big, when you do peyote, it has a big response. You vomit, like you go through it, but you're supposed to connect with a level of consciousness that you normally do not connect with. Pretty much.
But here's the thing: I love that it comes back majorly in the film, and that's the thing. There is nothing in this film that is fluff, unintentional. Do you know what I mean? Everything in this film is extremely intentional.
I've got to note, just because this is such a major theme throughout the whole film, and I just want to build off it a little bit. You know, when you're talking about her character's overt sexualization, like, it is pushed to an extreme, and I cannot help but compare it to Sue in The Substance, in that, like, these are some very specific, again, stylistic choices. The way she frames this character, the glistening of her sunglasses, the close-ups on her pouty, glossy lips. Like, you see all of this, I don't want to say replicated, but it's a technique that she builds into to really hypersexualize these characters, because it's almost playing into the fact that we as consumers of cinema have come to expect this. And then she goes against your expectations and, you know, eventually does something fresh with it. But starting with this just in-your-face sexualization, there's so many shots on her ass. She's dropping it like it's hot for these guys. And it feels so aggressive, but she's in on it in a way. Like, she's aware she is an escort. This is her job, you know?
I was going to ask you, I'm so glad you brought up Sue, because at some point in this review, I was going to ask you, do you not see the similarities between the two characters?
Oh, yeah.
The actresses, Matilda Lutz and Margaret Qualley, look alike. Let's get that out there. I mean, how they're styled, the flashy neon colors they wear. I definitely think Jen was an influence for the Sue character, and you can totally tell.
Absolutely, but not in a way that I feel like she's ripping herself off. It feels like she had an idea here that she was probably more limited with when it came to getting this film made, bringing it to the screen. But I think she had a greater idea that she was wanting to tap into further, that she's able to fully explore with The Substance on a larger scale. But this, like, I mean, yeah, a lot of the themes that you see explored in The Substance are touched on here. And that overt in-your-face sexualization, like, it really is like the major note you start on, but it does not carry through. This character evolves.
But I mean, yeah, talk about overt sexualization. What is literally the first thing she does when her and Richard get into the house?
Man ass.
I mean, she gives him a fucking blowjob right there in the middle of the bedroom. I mean, that is the first thing she does. Like, so that's how we're introduced to this character. And so, yes, you are painting her, or she's being painted as a very specific type of person. Yeah, she blows him. And then we cut to the phone ringing. And this is when it's revealed that Richard's married, because this is first dong shot. This gorgeous man walks out of the bedroom into the living room, butt ass naked, his thick fucking dong swinging back and forth.
Ooh.
As he's talking. I know. As he's talking to his wife. I mean, he's fucking married. He has kids.
Guys, let me just say it right now, listeners. You're going to need to bring a small hand fan for the rest of this episode, because you're going to have to be cooling down your loins with this one. Troy and I are not holding any punches. Like, Troy and I could see the beads of sweat forming on his forehead right now through this low resolution camera that I'm watching of his glorious face. This film, I feel like Troy and I had both, it checks the boxes for what we're looking for when you want a hot dude doing full frontal. I love full frontal. Troy loves full frontal. We can't get enough of it, but it has to be intentional. And this, I thought you were going to lean into this. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's a sense of her character, utilizing that blowjob. It's calculated. She knows what she's doing. This character is not stupid. She's there playing a certain part. She knows her place until things are challenged. But as a filmmaker, the first thing she chooses to do, in the sense of like in your face nudity, because with this film, with that kind of character, this hypersexualized character, he's squeezing out her little Martian ass or whatever he says about it, her little apple butt. He's all about it. And then what does she do? She gives us full frontal male nudity. She gives us this shot of him walking out, taking this call, that tight little fanny. And then he turns around, you get that uncut dick, and you're like, oh, I was not expecting this at all. And I think she's aware of that. She's very aware. Like, you're expecting, first thing, you're going to get racked to the skies. You're going to get tits out. You should get railed in front of that pool, bouncing boobies. And it's like, that's what I would expect from a movie like this. But no, she flips it. And instead you get this just in your face, hot ass male French dude. Whatever he is stunning. He looks so good naked.
I'm going to say, as much as I want to hate him, I hate his character. The dude is fucking just sex on a stick. Good grief, this man is hot. So he talks to his wife. She's chatting about what she's going to make for some banquet dinner. Who the fuck cares? But Jen knows he's talking to his wife. So when he goes back into the bedroom to get in bed with her, she's kind of pouting. Like, she ignores him at first. And then he tells her, everything would be easier if the kids weren't there. Like, signifying, it's that cliche, right? We always hear it. I'm always staying for my wife because of my kids. It's kind of him saying that to her. And then he says to her, or if you didn't have such a nice, what's he say, apple ass or peach ass or.
Yeah. And then he says, he's like a little Martian from another planet. I'm like, what is it? Is that a compliment? Thank you, though, I guess.
And then he's like grabbing, he's like, where's that little peach ass? Where's that? She's like starts giggling and stuff. But like, see, that's like the first like sign that this guy is kind of a jerk, right? I mean, I'd leave my wife. It'd be easier if you didn't have. So he's like kind of blaming her, like for the fact that he's having an affair with her because, you have such a nice. Just a little thing I picked up on this time. But I do love they start making out and they get framed by the moon. And then the moon transitions into the pool robot in the morning, cleaning the pool. I thought that was cool.
Her transitions are so good. They're so good. They're so thought out. They're intentional. It's not like it's like a hard cut and then you're there. Like, there's a lot of like very unique fades, dissolves. She just plans every shot out meticulously. And her transitions are always just very, very interesting to watch. One thing I really want to pause and acknowledge here, if we're going to talk about similarities with the substance, and I will not bog this down with that, but there is no way avoiding this, is this location. He likes a certain aesthetic. She likes a certain interior. She likes a strong focal location, and this fucking serves it up. And it gives strong Loft from the Substance vibes, does it not? I mean, strong, but it's still its own thing.
Yeah, no, the window. I mean, she loves glass window, like windows galore, like the whole back, the Substance, the whole window, huge glass overlooking the city where she can see the billboard and stuff. Yeah, it's very similar. This is definitely a more isolated location. Substance is LA. This is like very rural. I think it's supposed to be Australia, like outback of Australia. I think it was filmed though in like Morocco, but I mean, very deserty, but I think it's stunning. It's literally in the fucking middle of nowhere, but I just love the transition into the little pool robot cleaning, because he comes back into play himself, a little pool robot, but it's morning now. And Jen gets up and she gets some coffee and grabs an apple. And when she turns around, because the whole fucking house is nothing but windows, so anybody can see in, when she turns around, she's fucking startled by this random man we see standing there with a fucking gun. I would be freaking the fuck out.
Breaks her glass. Like, she drops her glass and breaks it. She's so startled. Yeah. Makes sense. And it's not, I mean, like, this isn't like a hot guy. This is like a derpy. This is Dimitri first, right? Dimitri, who is barely utters a word the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I have some things to say about Dimitri. Yeah, it's basically Dimitri and Stan, who we find out are, because Richard comes out when he hears the commotion. He's like, oh, shit, you guys weren't supposed to get here, you know, because they both know that he's married, because the first thing Stan asks him is how's Elizabeth? And he's like, oh, you guys weren't supposed to, she was supposed to be gone by the time you guys got here. They come early, but these are his hunting partners that he's going to spend the weekend on this hunting trip with him.
Such a simple setup, man.
Yeah. But you can also, I mean, right away, especially Stan, you can tell that he is just smitten with Jen. Like, he is eyeballing her up and down. He can't stop staring at her. His stares at her get really fucking awkward. And like when she goes to the bathroom to take a shower, she's wearing her underwear and just a shirt because she didn't know these people were going to barge in on her. He's like staring at her ass the whole way. He's just right away kind of gives off creep vibes. Although in the later scene, you think, oh, he's just kind of a nice guy. He likes her and stuff. You don't know where it's going to go. But right away, there's something off with his character.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, off about both of them. And there's a definite element of discomfort that her character has. I think she feels the need to perform to a certain extent. And that comes into play. It's because of how the character, these men take it, you know, but she definitely feels the need to be on because these are his friends. So it's just awkward right off the bat. But these guys are very different from Richard. Like, you know, Dimitri almost seems like he has a brain trauma. He barely speaks. He's just chewing on food, chewing on it like cud. And then you've got Stan, who is definitely like, he's not as like simple as I would say as Dimitri, but definitely I would say he pales in comparison to Richard, because I feel like it's something to say that Richard seems like he's the kind of guy who surrounds himself with yes men. He likes to be idolized and worshipped. You get that from how he interacts with Jen, but you also sense it from, you know, surrounding himself with these men who just look kind of really like scruffy. Like, I would expect him to be hanging out with like other really like uptight, pretentious looking men, and instead he's got these two just like kind of like fumbling, bumbling assholes who are kind of hanging on his every word. And I think that just is the kind of character that he is. I think that speaks to the kind of character that he needs to be in control of the situation at all time. Like, that's something that's very prevalent with his character through the whole film, is his need to grasp control of what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely the man in charge. I mean, we find that out numerous times throughout the film, how he treats, I mean, not only how he treats Jen, how he treats all of them. I really think it would be interesting to kind of know, because of what transpires, I guess just the curiosity in me wanted to kind of get into a backstory about like, how long have these guys been friends, or what's their story? Because with what transpires, like, something terrible happens and they're all like kind of okay with it, and they're all going to like have each other's backs. So I wondered, like, what was the story with these guys? That night, I do like I mean, her transitions are great. Her little, everything, because we get this like wrestling match on TV that keeps intercutting with pool shenanigans, because now they're out in the pool and you're seeing like them having fun in the pool and Richard jumping in with a beer and all this stuff, until it just slowly kind of fades into the evening when they're around the table outside and they're just having drinks, and Jen is chatting with Stan, and they're just having some, it seems like innocent chat. She's like, oh, I would love to fly away, to get away to anywhere if I could. And he's like, well, I would buy you a ticket right now. Where do you want to go? And she says she wants to go to LA because she thinks that she would get noticed there. what ends up happening is these two just kind of are having this like little innocent chat, and all the while Dimitri's watching them through the binoculars, even though he's like right across the table from him. So it really makes an interesting visual and dichotomy, because at one moment the frame is you're seeing them just as a normal frame, and the next frame you're seeing them through the binocular lenses, and it just goes back and forth until it finally lands. The binocular lenses finally land on the peyote, the little baggie that was given, and the guys want to grab it and want to take it. And this is when we find out from Richard, absolutely not. You guys, you cannot take this. This is extremely strong, and we're going to be handling weapons. And having this with guns is definitely going to lead to an accident. And then he mentions a story, Roger, that seems insignificant, but boy, does it come back into play. He's like, there was a guy from Poland who took this, and he basically sawed his own foot off and didn't even feel a thing because this drug is so strong. And he ended up dying by bleeding out. And he tells Jen to go hide this. So she takes it into the house, and when she gets into the house, she puts it into her, instead of hiding it anywhere, she puts it in her heart locket.
So intentionally played. They mention it just enough. You know it's going to be important. You don't know how, but it's the little details. She's so good with her little details, weaving her stories. Caroline Fargeat. How do you say the last name?
I think it's Fargeat.
Fargeat. I want to say it right. I want to sound fancy when I say it, not like white trash. Coralie Fargeat. Coralie Fargeat. Oh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I expect great things from her as a director. I'm glad that we have her as a genre director, because yes, I mean, between this and The Substance, wow. But no, then she comes back out. She's in that fucking yellow dress. Again, she, like Sue, she loves her bright colors. And, you know, it's just all innocent. Some techno music's playing. And it's just moments like this, Roger, where you think it is so innocent, because this stuff happens all the time. Like she's not coming on to him. You know, she's not, because she wants to go dance with Richard first, if you notice. And he's like, no. You know, he kind of bats her away. So what does she do? She's trying to have fun. She's trying to perform, like you said. So she gets Stan up and starts dancing with him. And we see this all the time. Like, this is not like, it just, it's one of those things where like, this is something we as men, you know, don't really necessarily maybe recognize, that like women are just doing this because they're trying to have fun, and it does not have to be interpreted any other way, right? Like, she is just trying to have fun, and because she's trying to have fun and have the time of her life, have fun this night, it gets misconstrued into something, and the result is horrible.
This is me in Hollow Lake. I'm saying it now.
Oh my God.
Not giving nothing away or anything, but
guys, wait till you see Roger flailing around in Hollow Lake. You think Jen has the moves? You just wait. Just wait.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so expertly played in how she even gets over to him to begin with. And you can see him just light up, and you can see that he's taking this to be a thing. And she's just, you know, she's trying to be like polite, you know, she just happens to be a beautiful girl. And it's like clockwork, the way this is all like kind of unfolding. I am surprised how quick she gets to it though. Like, I mean, she gets to the point, being Coralie Fargeat. I mean, which I'm still not saying right, but she, you know, it's not like she is lingering on this sequence of the film for this extraneous amount of time. Like, it's pretty quick that things start to happen. The ball starts rolling pretty fast. The meat of this movie is the fucking revenge, as it should be. It's the title of the film. But, like, she does just give you enough to understand just exactly who these people are, and that this guy has this kind of fixation with this beautiful girl, and it gets fucking weird.
I mean, yeah, she just dances with them, you know, and yeah, she's grinding on him and stuff. It's just typical stuff. And that's it. I mean, she probably thinks this was innocent, and the night ends, and they go to bed, and that's it until the next morning, when she happens to wake up and go out into the kitchen, and he sees her. He's sitting outside. He's all happy, Roger. He's like, "Oh, there she is," and he invites her to come sit next to him, and you know, she's like looking around. She doesn't know what to say, but she's sitting out there with him, and he can tell, I think, she's a little bit taken aback, and he has to tell her, oh, Richard went to give our passports to the gamekeeper, so he'll be gone all morning. And she notices Dimitri's in the pool. And it's just really, really like awkward because he just keeps staring at her. And you can start to sense the awkwardness that she's feeling. And then she gets her phone out and starts playing a game, and she looks over at him, and he's still just staring at her with that stupid grin on his face, just staring at her like, dude.
He even like made breakfast, I think, for her. Like, she comes out and he's like, oh, and he like hugs her, and then he like, it's like butter on her back, and then has to like wipe it off, and it's very like sensual, and she's very uncomfortable. And there's this whole thing, this bit where she keeps cutting to this apple she bit into earlier, and you're seeing this apple rot, and there's like ants starting to crawl on it. And there's, again, all these little details that do all come back into play, this kind of continuous theme, as things are starting to go sour, and it basically you're starting to see the worst within these people. But it gets weird, man. It gets weird because he clearly has, like you said, misconstrued everything, and she's trying to like politely kind of decline this guy, and he starts to get like uncomfortable and kind of forward with her, and he asks her why she doesn't like him. And it's like such a masculine question to ask. I know that sounds so like, oh, but like it is. It's like such like a masculine, like just like a man with a bruised ego. Why don't you like me?
That is exactly what it is. But before that, he won't quit staring at her. So she's like, I'm going to go get packed so that I can leave on time. And she goes into the bedroom, Roger, and she is like getting undressed. He walks right in on her.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, oh my God. And he sits into the bed next to her. And yeah, there's just like, he's just like telling her, it's a shame that we didn't have more time to get to know each other. And then he gives her his business card and he says, call me sometime and maybe we can do a thing or two. And she's just trying to be polite. She's like, oh, I don't know if I'll have time with work and stuff. And he says, and this is when it's like, I mean, talk about just a shifting character, because he's like, oh, work. What are you, a fucking politician now? And then, yeah, what don't you like about me? And Roger, this is so just, it rings so true because you can tell how uncomfortable she is. Like, she doesn't know what to say. And you can see her searching for an answer that she thinks isn't going to offend him.
She's the one that, even though he's like busted in and it intentionally interrupted her nude, like she like turned and he was just peeking around the corner. Like he's not even really trying to be discreet about it. And yet she's the one that's having to like tiptoe around this conversation and appease this guy and give him the answers that she thinks like he wants to hear, until finally he's like, why don't you like me? And it's like she can't really like avoid giving him an answer. So he pins her into this position where she has to say something that he doesn't like the answer to it. And then he takes it out on her. And it's just, the setup here is just so manipulative and honestly, like, feels very real. Like, I believe that many women have felt the way this girl has felt before, have been put into a dialogue with a man like this before. Ideally not with the fucking outcome of what comes from it, but still just the fact that he has this righteous anger, this self, like he feels like he has to almost like defend himself because she's kind of scorned his masculinity. It just comes through really, really strong in this scene.
Well, she tells him that he is too small, that she likes taller men. And he's like, oh, there it is. But then he says to her, like, all of a sudden, my height hasn't changed since yesterday, has it? And she says, oh, what? And he's like, let me repeat it so your fucking oyster-sized brain can comprehend. Have I gotten any smaller since yesterday? She's like, no. And he's like, well, you certainly wanted me yesterday. Like he totally misconstrued everything. And she like gets up and he goes and like slams her against the fucking sliding glass door. And he says, you wanted it yesterday. You were like a pussy in heat. I mean, first of all, I don't know, your first viewing. I mean, did you expect that this would be the guy that this went down with?
I didn't know. I really went in blind. And so I think I knew that, like, I thought it was going to be a group thing, to be honest. It always is. Again, it's playing against my expectations. So I thought it was going to be a group thing, and it's not. And I think, like, looking at this structure, like, I don't think that the character of Richard would do that, because Richard, I think, mostly gets what he wants. He's very handsome. He's very confident. This is playing in like what I said earlier about his character feeling very in control. Because of that, like, I think he gets what he wants. I don't think the character of Stan often gets what he wants. And if he does, it's because someone like Richard is giving it to him. So right now he wants her, and she straight up declines him and then tells him he's small, even though he asks her to tell him that, like he asks, he's like, why don't you like me like that? And then he gets pissed and he fucking takes it out on her. And it's just so uncomfortable, but I'm so happy the way she chooses to go about depicting this scene. Like, I'm not happy there's a fucking rape. Of course I'm not. But like the stylistic decision to completely turn the attention away to Dimitri, who shows up in the middle of this very confrontational moment, eating that goddamn nougat. And then he just fucking like has this whole bit where he walks out and turns up the volume, and the attention shifts. It goes a different direction than what you would expect. And at that point, when I saw that, Troy, I was like, I'm in store for something completely different from what I was anticipating. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to go further with this because it does go against your expectations. You expect this very graphic, horrific sequence. And there are horrific things to be seen in this film, but it's not the rape. It's uncomfortable. It gets right to that point where you think it's going to go too far. And then she shifts the attention away. And that's where that female eye is coming through and making this feel very fresh and very necessary. I think this genre needed this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we don't always have to see the female be brutally, brutalized and sexually violated and, violently raped. We don't need to see that. I mean, it was, I spit on your grave. Okay, fine. That was the 70s. There was never anything like that. It was bold. I still think it's a pretty good film. And there's been others that follow. I mean, even something that's not from the horror genre, like The Accused with Jodie Foster from the 80s, that graphically depicts a rape. She gets gang raped in the bar on the pinball machine, and she won her first Oscar for that. So, I mean, we live in an era of cinema where we are used to that and we expect it, right? When we hear a rape revenge film, or we expect that we're going to see this, and it does not happen that way. I mean, I'm not downplaying the severity of this scene because it is still quite uncomfortable. He basically, when he turns around, slams her against the glass, pulls her panties down, starts to unbuckle her pants. That is when Dimitri walks in, and fucking Stan says, unless you're going to join in, leave us alone. We're busy. And there's just that moment. Dimitri's just standing there with that fucking goofy look on his face. This man, you think this man is like just this dope, but then like he does have this very massive personality shift here in a bit that surprised me. But he just stands there watching for a minute, chewing on that nougat, and you get the close up of him biting it, and it's so gross. And then he closes the bedroom door. We do not see anything as far as the rape. We hear it. We hear her screaming. We hear her crying. We hear him grunting. Dimitri walks away for a minute and he stops, and you think maybe for a moment he's going to have a change of heart, but instead he grabs that fucking TV remote and blasts the volume so he doesn't have to hear it. And then he goes outside and walks to the pool. And what's really interesting is like the window that she is slammed against faces the pool, so she sees him. So about the only visual we get of the actual rape is a very small sliver of her against the glass, pounding on it, trying to get his attention. That's it. He jumps in the pool, and that's the rape scene.
It's shocking, but I mean, I can't believe I can say this, but as tastefully done as you're going to get a sequence like this, and her decision to follow him outside, his big bald head, as he's walking along the side of that pool. You keep getting shots along the side of that pool. Yeah, it really, again, it played against my expectations, refreshingly so. And I love that when you come up the next, later in the day when Richard gets back and she's just there in bed, like just sobbing in bed, like basically the guys have just left her and gone about the rest of their day, I guess, and like left this poor girl there to like just fucking cope with the fact that she's been raped. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, wouldn't you be like shocked that she's not texting or calling for help or something? Like, but I mean, I'm sure she's in such shock after what happened. She's not probably thinking about that. She's thinking that Richard's going to come to her aid, to her support when he gets home, I'm assuming,
And he does not. And again, I question, like, it just makes me, not that I needed to see any of this, but just makes me wonder, like, what the relationship with these guys is, because like Stan obviously doesn't necessarily value Richard as a true friend if he's so willing to rape the girl that he's with, like, and then just everything. It's a weird dynamic of these guys, but I guess, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, this shit happens. Like, again, being the true crime buff that I am, you'd be surprised at how many people that barely know each other, like, willingly go along with horrible things that they get into together. Like, they'll be in a group, one person will do something really horrible, like murder and torture somebody, and the others just go along with it. So, I mean, I can kind of see that sense of where this is coming from, because like none of these guys want to get in trouble. And it's real weird because like Richard comes home and these two guys are just sitting on the couch casually, and Stan looks at Richard and says, there's been a slight problem with Jen. That's what he says. There's been a slight problem with Jen. No, you fucking raped her.
I am constantly so appalled by how these men handle themselves throughout this whole film. I mean, it is like, and she does a great job of creating just horrible, but believably horrible characters. Again, they don't feel like stereotypes. There's certain things they say. There's choice wording, ways they refer to her, talking about Jen. It's just the way that their dialogue is written. It just feels, I buy it. I believe it. I believe that shitty men like this exist. And yeah, I think it's one of those things, like, you know that Richard's not going to come to her aid, but like it's so quick that he turns on her as soon as she kind of starts to stand up for herself. Everything he's saying, everything he's promising, how he's going to take care of her, he turns on her in the blink of an eye. And it's, again, I like that she doesn't draw this out. Like, as soon as there's a chance to make this character, again, detestable, she runs with it. Like, she's not trying to paint him as like, oh, he's super charming and like maybe he isn't a bad guy. No, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. And as soon as he has a chance to turn on Jen and make her feel less than, he takes it.
Oh God. I mean, he goes into the bedroom and she just wants to go home. She's like, please call the helicopter. I want to go home. And he says, you know what? I'll take care of it. So he goes out and yells at the guys. You can hear him yelling. And then he cuts to her, waking up, and he's standing above her. And she's like, how long have I been sleeping? And he just basically tells her everything's going to be okay. And he's fixed everything. And then he proceeds to tell her, I got you a job in Canada. Like, what? Like, you're going to ship this woman off to Canada? And then he gives her like a piece of paper with an amount of money on it. And he's like, this will be yours. You can, you'll be taken care of. And she's like, no, I just want to go home. And she crumples the paper and throws it down. And he's like, don't act like a child. And then she gets up and she's like, call the helicopter. I'm going to call your wife and tell her everything. Oh boy. He smacks her to the floor and it's like, don't you ever talk about my wife, you whore. Who do you think you are? And it just, again, shifts like that.
So quick. It's like I said, it's the blink of an eye. And she's like stunned. And you as the viewer are stunned too, because you knew that something was going to give, but I don't think you expected it to be that quick. And as soon as she starts to defend herself, this guy fucking backhands her to the ground. And it's shocking. And it's not even like he tries to apologize at this point. He's calling her a fucking whore. He's talking down to her. And I mean, like, when I said that they move quick with this, it's the character development. It's shocking that she's able to give us so much, but breeze through this segment of the film so quickly, because we're really, like I said, we're getting towards the meat of this, which is the event that takes place to trigger her vengeance.
I mean, and why isn't this fucking dude, why isn't Richard fucking mad at Stan for raping his girl? Like, I mean, I would be like, but he's taking it out on her. And, I think at this point she realizes, Roger, I mean, she's fucked. Like, none of these guys are going to help her. So her only instinct is to run. And so she darts out of that house and Richard starts after her. And you get that shot of Dimitri and Stan sitting on the couch and they look outside and they see Richard chasing her. So they join in and you get that long shot of like all of these guys chasing this girl with Dimitri in the back, huffing and puffing, him trying to run and keep up with these guys until she comes to the edge of a cliff. Talk about nowhere to go. There's literally nowhere to go. And you know this poor woman has to be terrified.
I mean, she's goddamn barefoot. This barefoot woman running through the desert. Like, at least put some shoes on, some flip-flops or something. But she's barefoot. This guy, he's a very fit man. He's very handsome. He's very fit. He's bigger than her. You know he's going to catch up to her. And so he gets her to this cliff, and then the other two reach her, and she's surrounded, and you're like, why is this girl, like, why is she in this position to begin with? She's done nothing wrong. And then, like, this whole sequence of him basically acting as though, like, it feels as though he's going to apologize, and then out of nowhere, he just fucking shoves the girl. Like, it's without hesitation. He pushes her, and I was like, whoa, like, holy fuck. Like, when I say this is moving fast, like, part of me almost felt, Troy, like, when you start, from the moment you see her running from the house, I'm like, wow, that seems almost like an impromptu decision. But I think this girl is quick to realize, like, yeah, these guys, nobody here is going to help her. These men are out for themselves. This guy's a politician. He's tried to get her out of the fucking country. You know, like, she knows that nobody's in her corner. And so her decision to run, like, I'd be like, fuck it. Yeah, like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. But God, like, it's such a pathetic moment, man. It's so sad. Like I said, she's barefoot. She's this frail girl. You really, like, do not expect her to be able to defend herself to begin with. But what happens here, like, this moment, this push triggers something so epic, like, I would not have anticipated it. And I'm happy this moves quick. Even the fall is quick. Even, like, she goes down and boom, she hits this branch and, like, she's dead weight. It's quick. It's shocking. It's almost just, it's startling how fast this whole bit goes by. But it pays off. It makes sense how she paced it.
But what makes it worse is, yeah, before he pushes her, he pretends that he calls the helicopter. So he lulls her into a sense of safety, you know? And yeah, there's that moment. He's like, he even pretends to talk to the Roberto. He's like, hey, Roberto, yeah, we have a change of plans. And then, yeah, he hangs up the phone. He's like, I got it taken care of. And he stops for a second and then turns around, yeah, shoves her, falls off that cliff. What is that? Like 40 feet at least. And fucking slams onto that tree, and that fucking branch impales her. I mean, it comes out of her fucking stomach. And I thought, you know, the first time I saw this, I'm like, there is no way she survived this. Like, but miraculously, she does. And people have survived much worse, but she is hung on this tree. Stan is freaking out, like, why did you do that? And he says, you know, she could put all of us in jail for 15 years. We're not telling anybody, fuck you. We're going to continue our hunting trip, and we'll come back and we'll clean this up and pretend nothing ever happened. And then it cuts to him burning her clothes in that burn barrel, and he burns her bright pink I Love LA shirt.
There's a lot of symbolism with the way she kind of constructs some of these transitions and these edits, and like just the choice of her having the I Love LA shirt in general, because, you know, she said she wanted to move there. You get this little tidbit of information from her saying what she wants from her future, and then seeing the visual of this shirt burning, and then the ants I mentioned earlier, where you have this whole bit with the apple, with the ant crawling atop it, and now you start to see her blood dripping and the ants gathering around her blood, and you hear those sound effects of the blood splattering atop that ant. Again, it's so meticulous. It's very intentional. All of these little details, all of these little bits that are used to transition. But her coming too, I did not anticipate her making it through that fall, man. Like, I'm shocked she did. I'm curious. There's an element of having to, like, suspend your reality, for sure, with how much brutality these people take, with just how much their bodies can handle. Because technically, like, should this girl have survived this fall? No. I'm thrilled she did. But the fact she could do what she can, shocking.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have one big flaw with this film, I think it is definitely the fact that she probably, if this was real life, probably would not have survived. I mean, we see the branch clearly come right out of her fucking stomach. It had to have done some internal organ damage. Not to mention we're not talking her falling like 8 feet. This was literally probably like a 40-foot cliff. So the impact of hitting that tree in the first place probably would have broken her back. And then there's the whole point, and I guess I'm being nitpicky because there's not much to criticize this movie about, but then there's the whole thing about the branch clearly went into her back and came out of her stomach, but the only wound that we ever see, even from when we get shots of her walking, is the front wound. There's no back wound. Like, we don't see the back hole, which there clearly would be. She spends a whole lot of time mending the front wound, but the back wound would be just as important to take care of, right? It would still be bleeding and gushing, but we never see that.
There's if you look up close, there's a few shots with her back where it almost looks like it's burned on her back. There's big scrapes going across from the branches. There is an area where I am curious if they just didn't really show it, because eventually she does cauterize the wound somehow, some way she knows how to. There's a really dark black, almost charring on her back as well. So I'm wondering if that's what they're trying to imply here. And I'll roll with it because she's such a badass. I want that for her. But it is kind of okay, how the fuck is she on her feet right now?
Yeah, that she cauterized both the front and back, but we the audience only saw her do the front. That, I guess I'll go with it. Yeah, there is that moment though that just shows you what a dick Richard is, because when he goes back to the house after he burns her clothes, he actually calls his wife, but then he goes outside to get ready for the hunt, and Stan comes up to him, and Stan's like, "Oh, Richard, I wanted to talk to you. I just wanted to apologize about Jen." And Richard's like, "About who?" He says, "Jen." And Richard says, "I don't know her," and walks away. He forgot about her, dismisses her all that quickly.
Yeah, a lot of little things that make these guys just so fucking repulsive.
But I love, oh my God, I don't know why, but I love this shot of the ant with the blood dripping on it. And just how it's beautiful how it's done. And you hear the sound of the loudness of the blood hitting and the poor ant struggling she loves to cover insects with liquid. Have you noticed that?
I'm surprised PETA doesn't have issues with this film, because there's 2 insects that I don't think made it out of this movie alive. Added to that, the body count, because this poor ant, there's no way this ant survived this blood dripping sequence that is very much worth the life of this ant, I will say, because it is a very beautiful and symbolic sequence as she coughs up blood, comes to, somehow she's alive.
She comes to. She's alive. She comes to. Blood is just pooling from her mouth. And not only to be alive, Roger, but to have the clarity to be able to do what she does. I mean, I think she realizes she's fucking impaled on this tree. She sees it coming out of her stomach. Luckily, she had her iPod and her earbuds and a lighter in her pocket, so that when she fell onto the tree, they fell out of her pocket onto the ground. And Roger, my ass would have fucking died, I will tell you, on this tree, because I would not have thought to do this. I would not have. This bitch right here starts to launch into bad bitch territory, because I would not have thought. I would have literally hanged there and died and been pathetic. She sees the lighter and she starts to, painfully use the earbuds to move the lighter to her, and she gets it, and she takes reaches over and gets a bunch of kindling and brush and puts it under the tree and lights the fucking brush so that the tree sets on fire. Because the tree trunk is on fire, eventually it gives away and it breaks, and she is able to fall to the ground and get off the tree. Talk about fucking smart.
I also talk about what are the chances that this would work out exactly to plan? Come on. I would set myself on fire. I might make it to the lighter aspect, but that tree ain't breaking. If that tree can handle my fat ass falling onto it, that's a sturdy ass tree, and that tree ain't falling no matter how much you burn it. But hey, it works for her, and at least they show how it happens, how it comes to. Right away, she is more resourceful than you anticipate, and I like that it's something that they don't explain it, but there are lots of moments over the course of the film where you see how she is challenged. When she's arming herself with weapons, it's not like all of a sudden she's a bad bitch and she knows how to take down 3 men at once. No, she's learning as she goes. She's just resourceful. And that is one of her coolest traits as a character. We don't get to know a lot about her before this happens. But what we can say is this girl is somebody who just defies your expectations. And she is a quick thinker, and she is very much capable of making decisions that allow her to survive to the next step. And so I think that there are times when she chooses to run, there's times when she chooses to fight, and there's times when she makes really good calls on how to survive. I got to give her props. I mean, like right off the bat, yeah, she thinks of this really interesting and unique way to get out of this very painful situation. I'm shocked she survived it, but hell, if she can do this, she can do anything.
But I also like at the same time, there's a sense of suspense because as she's trying to get loose from this tree, the guys, because she can hear them, they're on their ATVs in their truck coming back to the cliff because remember, Richard said when they're done with their hunting trip, they're going to come and take care and clean this up. So I think they're coming to get the body and dispose of it. So she has to act quickly, and she literally crawls and gets right against the cliff, the back of the cliff, as they come to the edge of it so that they can't see her. But they do look and they see that the fucking tree has been burnt to a crisp and her ass is gone. And they're all like, what the fuck? And Stan is like, oh, somebody must have come and got her. Somebody must have come and took her. And Dimitri's like, no, if she's still alive, her guts are hanging out and she can't be that far. We're going to go look for her and finish her off. So now this becomes the guys are going to hunt for her. And they drive down to the bottom of the cliff. And when they get there, they see her iPod. Richard notices the big old blood smear from where she was backed up against the cliff. He's like, this is where she was the whole time. And then, I mean, she leaves a blood trail. Blood trails are also a big thing in this film. There are a lot of blood trails that leading characters to different places. So they start to follow the blood trail until they get to the edge of a river. And the blood trail stops, obviously. And this is when, like, Richard's like, we got to find her. And Stan's like, well, I'll stay here. And Richard makes a little quip about, oh, of course Stan will stay here. I guess the good thing we have heated seats for Stan's ass. And Stan's like, no, I just need to stay here in case she shows up. Or I'll go, or one of us just needs to stay here. Richard ignores him. He goes one way, Dimitri goes the other. Stan goes and gets into the truck. And it's like, there's little moments that, like, she lets things breathe a little bit longer than I would anticipate. Like, we get a long moment of Stan in this truck. He gets into the truck. He's just like, you can tell he's cold. He's trying to warm up his hands. For a long moment, he has the driver's door open. So the only sound we keep hearing is that seatbelt sound for him to put the seatbelt on. And he finally, like, closes the door. It's just a long moment with this character, just kind of to let us breathe a little bit.
She lets these moments linger at just the right times, and it happens a lot. And, like, there's moments, like, even little surprise beats of humor, like when you have it cuts back and, like, Stan's listening to the music and things like that. Like, she's very intentional with it. The whole fact that, like, right away now she's smart enough to take it to the water because of the blood trail. I'm assuming that she made that call herself. Even though she's definitely going to get that wound infected quite quickly. But still, she's thinking, and these guys are already forced to, like, split up. And I love that Stan, who really is the one that's at fault here, like, more than, I mean, they're all awful people, but he's the one that, like, wants the least responsibility in general. And I'm like, okay, like, I mean, that would be me too. I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, you guys fucking handle it. It's not like I never put myself in this position to do something that horrible to somebody. But yeah, already she's thinking survival mode. And I love that about her. And the way all of this unfolds, like, chef's kiss.
Yeah. Well, she's running down the river. She hears an ATV approach. And so we cut to the shore and we see it's Dimitri. And he drives by. And when he passes, she emerges from underneath the water. She was basically underneath the water, holding her breath as Dimitri drives by. And when he goes by and she gets out of the water and comes to shore, she sees that he is parked a little ways down and he's peeing, and that he has his gun propped up, on the ATV. It's not on him. And again, I got to give this girl props because what she does is actually smart. Unfortunately, Dimitri was expecting it, because she darts up there, grabs his fucking gun, pulls it on him, He turns around. He's like, no, 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 don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. And he begs her not to shoot him. And you get the moment where she considers this, and you can kind of see it click in her mind. You know what? These motherfuckers deserve to die. And she pulls the trigger. Unfortunately, it's not loaded. He laughs at her and knocks her to the ground. And is like, you stupid fucking bitch. You really think I was that fucking stupid to leave a gun where you could get it? And this is when this Dimitri character, who has not said a fucking word the entire film, becomes such a angry, like loud, monstrous presence. It's quite shocking.
And he's a big guy, so it's intimidating. And like, yeah, it's like, wow, out of nowhere, this guy's just losing it. And he grabs the gun from her. He beats her down to the ground. He grabs her and he starts drowning her in the water. And again, even in this moment, I wouldn't think to defend myself at all. I would just be flailing and screaming and drowning. But she sees his hunting blade that's on his waist, and she thinks to grab it. Like, fuck yeah, girl. So when he whips her up, she just backhands it into his skull, and you get a fucking gnarly ass, like double stab to the eye that I was not expecting. This twist here where she's so quick to defend herself. Again, I just wasn't prepared for this. And you top this off with this stellar score. Like, we haven't even touched on the score, but this electronic, like, just really, really just hitting hard. And this moment, like, yeah, I wasn't expecting this to get as violent as it did, I guess. Like, I'm shocking, I know. I mean, what you see here, especially when she pulls the knife out of the skull, I mean, the gore in this movie, shame on me for not being prepared for it. I've seen The Substance. It's another horrifically gory film. But God, I mean, once you start to see some of the things they pull off in this movie, it's ass-clenching material. Ass-clenching.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this one's great. I mean, she plunges it into his left eye and then right into his right eye. And he's like freaking out and the knife is sticking out of his fucking eyeball before he finally falls into the water. And she goes and pulls the knife out and we get that, I mean, beautiful shot. I know that's a weird word to use, of just his body sinking into the water until it disappears. I also like the moment, like when he has her down on the ground, he does radio the guys. He's like, oh, I got the bitch. I'm going to finish her off here and I'll meet you back at the house. And we get this whole moment, like when he is drowning her, trying to drown her, we get Stan in the truck. He is happy as a clam. He's clapping. He puts on her iPad and he's singing around and dancing around. He is fucking happy as a clam, totally unaware that she just fucking stabbed this fucker's brains out. And I mean, not only that, Ryder, she arms herself. She puts on the fucking everything. She gets in on the ATV and she's just traveling through this fucking desert. This, again, we would not expect this from the girl that we saw step out of that helicopter licking that fucking lollipop.
Not at all. And it's just like, it's so refreshing to see just, honestly, the character who literally becomes in the moment a formidable opponent for these guys. Partially because most of these men are just idiots. And I love that she's not scared to show that. These guys are really two of these guys are really stupid. The one is very resourceful, but he's cocky, and so they're all very flawed. And this girl's survivalist instinct has just kicked in. And so, yeah, she's on top of that fucking ATV, just fucking driving with that, like, just blaring score, her earring blowing in the wind. And yeah, just so badass. We got to acknowledge that earring because that's become one of like the core, like, definitive visuals of this film for understandable reasons. But they show, she keeps cutting back to it, and it's a very specific visual.
Yeah, it's hot pink stars. I mean, again, very, very, very like feminine stuff like that. Like that image of the earrings is very recognizable with this film. We see them all the time, but like having like strikingly feminine things juxtaposed with just bloody masculine violence. It's, again, it's done very, very well, and it just makes for some striking visuals and gives this film just that sense of boldness and uniqueness that I don't think we've seen before or since. I can tell you there's not a film like this.
Not at all. Not at all.
And that's a great thing. Like I need to learn from Coralie as a filmmaker myself, because looking at this as a first feature film, wow. wow. I mean, some directors don't reach this level with like 30 films under their belt. So we get this whole moment. She gets into this cave. She empties Dimitri's backpack, and he has like a Mexican beer that she takes out and takes a drink of. She realizes, I better fucking do something about this branch that's protruding. So she tries to pull her shirt up, but it's way too fucking painful. And you feel it. Like, you feel she like howls in pain and like buckles over and is crying. And when she buckles over, Roger, her necklace, the heart kind of falls out of her shirt, and she looks down at it, and she remembers what is in that fucking necklace. And it is that peyote that she takes out. And I mean, talk about a fucking smart way to just incorporate like her being able to heal herself as much as she can, because this would have to be painful. Like, and what she does, she ends up taking this drug purposely to get into a state of hallucination and not feeling, because if we remember, Richard said that guy cut off his foot without even feeling it. She's able to, I mean, take that knife and cut. Oh, and we see it. We see her gouge the tip of the knife in around that branch until she pulls it out all the way through her body. And this wound, talk about the makeup effects. We got to give props to the special effects. They look so just painful. And not only that, she's able to undo that beer can and flatten it out and put it into the fire and get it nice and red hot, and then solderize the fucking wound. All the while she's hallucinating. She's hearing that fucking symphony blare in her ears. But I mean, talk about a smart, albeit, kind of dangerous thing to do, but she is able to, even under the control of this drug, maintain some sense of purpose.
One of my I'm going to say a lot of these, but one of my favorite aspects of Coralie's style of cinematography is her willingness to embrace like the grotesque. Like, as beautiful as this girl is, like when you come up on her in this moment, like she has snot running down her face. She's covered in blood. She has major gashes across her back. And like, it's just, they're not trying to make this girl look pretty. It's quite sad and pathetic, to be honest. And when she's showing gore, I give her credit for how she chooses to linger on these moments with the camera all up in these wounds. And you're seeing the flesh and the meat, the pulpiness of all of it, like moving as she's trying to move the branch and pull it out of her. Then when she does finally get, fucking drugged up and starts to hallucinate and yanks the thing out of her, the wound starts to just pour blood, because of course it would, and so it just, you see all of it. You see the liquid, sticky gooiness of all of it in extreme hyper detail, which really speaks to the quality of these effects, but also the fact that, she's a female filmmaker, but she is not scared to go there. I love that. I love that as pretty as she can make something look, she can make it look as just as nauseatingly grotesque. And so these wounds, the gore you see here are phenomenal. The whole bit of her, cauterizing herself, like she's so numbed out to it that you just see her eyes roll back and she passes out from the pain, which, like, I mean, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, I mean, she gets through it. Smart way to do it. Smart way to incorporate that drug usage. It does come back to haunt her, but like smart way to put it to use,
Yeah, I mean, definitely. She's able to get through what she needs to do to at least give some semblance of healing herself or fixing these wounds. But yeah, we cut to Stan asleep in his truck when all of a sudden that fucking animal carcass is slammed against his windshield, and it is just Richard coming back and he's like, I can't find, he's radioing Dimitri. There's no answer. He's like, I don't know what's going on. Stan goes to the edge of the river to pee, and while he's peeing, fucking Dimitri's bloated body fucking rises to the surface. We do get that moment, though, that we talk about that poor ant that gets drowned by blood. We get a spider now getting drowned by Stan's piss.
And it's definitely a real spider. Like, this can't be a CGI spider. This is a real spider. And she kills this poor spider with a man's urine before that great reveal of the corpse, which, yeah, I mean, like that corpse reveal. I mean, again, talk about lingering, like really lingering on the gore. Like, this bloated, puffy, fat corpse, it's disgusting. It looks so grotesque. It is disgusting to look at. Like, it is repulsive. And she's just got the camera all up in it, and it's all slimy and just plump and ugh. But it looks horrifying. It's such a great effect.
Yeah, and he falls into the river, when he sees it, he freaks out and he's just having a meltdown. And Richard comes and Stan makes the mistake, I guess, to say anything negative about what Richard's done, because he says, if only you wouldn't have pushed her off that cliff. And so Richard goes into the truck and he's having a fucking breakdown. He's pounding the steering wheel and all that shit. And we see that Richard drags the body back into the river. And there's this weird thing about Richard telling him to turn off the air conditioning because he's what does he say? He's a conservationist or something. It's not good for the environment. Think about it. It's just it's such a interesting thing for this man to worry about at this moment. Your friend was just found brutally murdered in a lake. This woman that you brought and your other friend raped is on the loose, and you're worried about the air conditioner.
It's his need for control, though. It's his need because he has to get control of something. He's going to make this lunatic who's having a breakdown in the car. He's going to take control of him and tell him what to do. And so it seems very in line with the character. It seems like a quirk that when he doesn't have control over the situation, he's going to find something he can control. Let's talk about this ensemble. Let's talk about how she very intentionally makes me want to see this fucker naked every time he's on camera. And when he is clothed, I'm like, I just want him to take the clothes off. She knows what she's doing. This jacket, this blue leather jacket he's wearing, get me one of them. I wouldn't look as good as he does in this fucking jacket, but oh my God, he's so sexy walking around.
The leather pants too. He has leather pants, black leather pants, that blue leather jacket. Yeah. They go out. Yeah, the body's back in the river, and he tells Stan, you know what? We're just going to say that he died in a hunting accident. The desert's a gorgeous place, but it's dangerous. And so they turn to walk away. And again, this Richard dude is so unpredictable. And there's all these moments in the film where he just does something like you're not even expecting it. It's just so quick because he turns around and fucking punches Stan in the face and breaks his nose. Doesn't say a word to him, turns back around, gets in his truck and drives away.
I have never seen a nose break that has made me react as just physically, honestly, as this nose break here that we witness in this film. It is the most painful looking nose break I've ever seen. When he punches him, like blood splurts from his face. And you see him on the ground and there is just blood everywhere. And this nose is fucking destroyed. And it just looks so painful and he's just writhing in pain. And I'm like, God, that fucking right hook is killer. This guy is not fucking around. And it's because earlier he made the comment about, well, if it wasn't for you pushing her off that cliff, bitch, you raped her. Oh my God, how dare you? You're both awful people, but you gotta fucking, this is all because of you, my friend. But he was holding on to it till he had a moment to properly take it out on him. I love that.
Yep. I do love, he fucking deserves it, but it's just it caught me off guard. I'm like, damn. And he does. This dude is just somebody you don't want to piss off. And I just love the fact that he doesn't say a fucking word. He just gets in and drives away and leaves Stan there onto the ground, just howling in pain with his fucking bloody broken nose. This is the worst that happens to Stan because, let me tell you. Now we get Jen waking up. Roger, in this case, can I when you first saw this, I would love to have seen your reaction. Do you know what I'm talking about? When she wakes up in the cave and she starts to leave and he steps in front of her.
And blows her fucking head up.
Did you think it was real?
Well, I was like, there's no way they're just taking this girl out like this. But what they did get me was a double fucking startle because he does it again. It's the peyote. And this makes sense because, again, the peyote is connecting you with a form of consciousness that you are not able to fucking access any other time. And you're helping you see. You're seeing shit on another level. And I love how she shows it here. It's such a well-edited moment.
She does it from the two angles. I love that. But yeah, we get a double fake out, guys, because Jen wakes up. She gets her stuff. She's heading out of the cave. All of a sudden, Richard steps in front of her with that fucking shotgun, points it at her, and hesitates for a minute and then fucking pulls the trigger. And we see from the front her whole fucking head explode. It's incredible. It's incredible. And then she wakes up screaming. And she gathers her stuff again. She goes, walks out. He steps in front of her again. And this time we see it from her head blow up from the back.
And then it's just lizards and shit. Then it just gets real weird. Insects eating things and fucking that tattoo. Let's take a minute to talk about her tattoo. And listen, Troy, I didn't know this tattoo was coming. And I saw it and I was like, that's a bold choice. But then for a moment, I thought, oh my God, the tattoo is not going to make it beyond this crazy drug-induced dream sequence. I am so happy that at the end of the day, this girl earns this fucking like literal like battle scar tattoo, which is the beer can has this like Mexican flag visual on it, or it's like a flag, it's like an eagle.
It's an eagle
flag,
draped in
right?
a flag. Yeah, yeah.
And somehow it embeds in her skin when she cauterizes the wound. And it's so far-fetched, much like a lot of like the fact that like these people can keep surviving all these horrible things. It's very far-fetched that she actually was able to pull this off and make it look so fashionable. But I love this for her. And I was like, there's no way that this is going to make it beyond this drug-induced sequence. But it does. She does, in fact, tattoo herself with that beer can. And it makes no sense, but I fucking love it.
Yeah, I guess the image burned itself into her. I don't know how specifically that works, but we'll go with it because it does look badass. And yeah, when she finally wakes up, Roger, I mean, she goes full Rambo. She throws that ammo strap across her shoulder. She has that fucking gun with the sight on it. She has the knife. She is looking like a female Rambo. Far less clothes, but she looks fucking badass. And I love the fact that now, Roger, do you notice it shifts? She is the hunter now. She becomes the hunter to the point where she's looking for these men through binoculars. So they are down yonder, basically talking about the fact that they need to find her within 3 to 4 hours. She has to be somewhere. They're going to search every fucking nook and cranny until they find her. Richard wants to split up. And I don't know why Stan hasn't learned to keep his fucking mouth shut, but he says, we shouldn't split up. You know, there's that old thing, if you're lost in a forest, they say never to split up because it increases your chances of dying. And Richard's like, are we lost in a forest? Stan doesn't know what he's saying. He's like, are we lost in a fucking forest? Walks away and gets on his bike. And she's looking through the binoculars and Stan is like all flustered and he grabs this mirror to look at his bloody nose. And when she's looking through the binoculars, she catches the reflection of the sun off the mirror so she knows exactly where he's at. What does this bitch do? She gets in that fucking... She's hunting him. She chases after where he's at.
Like, the fact that she's even able to piece this together, I'm like, holy shit, she is Rambo. She is Patricia Tallman as Barbara in Night of the Living Dead, the remake. That's what she is. She is so capable, and you would not have assumed it at all. But, like, as soon as you see this glass bit, and it all makes sense. Like, it does make sense that this is how this is playing out. Because, like, you know, he's just not even thinking that she'd be capable of even putting this together. So, yeah, she is the huntress. But I really love, like, one of the things I appreciate the most, and I mentioned this a little bit before, but this is where it really starts to come into play, is, like, there is a level of uncertainty with everything she does. You know, like, she doesn't necessarily know how to use the gun. You know, she doesn't necessarily know how to defend herself. But she's going to fucking figure it out because she's out for fucking revenge. And I want that. Like, I want to see the uncertainty. Like, I want to see her struggling. I want to see her, you know, she's still barefoot. This girl is barefoot the whole movie. Like, give it credit to this fucking actress who's walking through this goddamn desert with nothing on her feet. That alone would kill me. I'd be bitching up a storm, let alone having a hole in my body with an eagle tattooed on my torso. Like, I couldn't do it. So more credit to her. But yeah, like, I mean, she's basically starting to plot, like, how am I going to go away? How am I going to get these fuckers and get the comeuppance that they deserve? Let's make sure it happens, because she's not settling for anything else. And I love that about her.
Yeah, we don't want her to. So he's driving down the road. His truck runs out of gas. So he has to get out and get the gas tank from the back of his truck and start to refill it. She's closing in on him. I mean, she is right there, you know, above him on the cliff, and she has that fucking gun with the sight on it. And there's just this moment of just building tension where we're watching her put the sight on him and different angles. Like, his head comes into view at one moment, it's right in the bullseye, and like she's waiting for the right moment. And as she gets ready to pull the trigger, she has that fucking hallucination of the lizard again out of nowhere, so she has to back off. And then, you know, he's getting ready to be done. Like, this is now or never. He's about ready to go back into the truck. And I mean, she gets the sight on him and takes aim, and the gun is a little bit more powerful than what she thought, because she flies back onto her back and it does hit him, but it hits him in the upper shoulder.
One of the tropes this movie avoids, Troy, is she rarely ever actually gets her target. Like, I mean, like, she hits him, she's figuring it out, but it's not like she suddenly knows how to fucking get a headshot. Like, this girl is really, and she's struggling with that gun. She's shaking, she's trying to get her target. She gets him, though, but, like, it's not like a perfect hit, and I love that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, she is definitely struggling. This girl has never fired. I'm assuming she never fired a rifle like this. And again, she rushes right down there to hunt him. And again, blood trails. You know, they followed her blood trail. Now she is following his blood trail, and he is leaving this blood trail. She is still barefoot, has that fucking gun out in front of her. He's ahead of her. He realizes that he's leaving a blood trail. So he takes his shoe off and his sock off and uses his sock to tie a tourniquet around his arm so it quits bleeding. As she's following him, he does something smart. I mean, these characters, I guess, aren't really stupid, because he does like climb up and hide himself so that he can get behind her. So he watches her pass him, and then he emerges behind her. And then, talk about shocking, Roger. He comes out of, you can see it's painful for him to fire this gun because of his shoulder, but he fires the fucking gun and blows her fucking ear off with that star earring on it.
Oh my God. Like, oh, this whole bit, it is the suspense, the anxiety inducing suspense. Like, she is drawing it out. She's running after him. He's running, he's bleeding out. He's losing boots, and he's running, and then he goes into hiding, and then he fucking shoots her goddamn ear off. And like, he Donald Trumps her. He Donald Trumps her. Here's what I'm convinced. Here's how, and I'm not somebody who's selling out to conspiracy theories, but I'm convinced Donald Trump was watching the 2017 survival thriller Revenge by acclaimed director Coralie Fargeat. And he was watching it, and he said, let's make it happen. That's how he came up with that conspiracy theory where he got his ear blown off. Because, I mean, let me tell you, that's so specific that her ear is gone now, and now she lost that fucking earring, but she's not dead. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, did he shoot her? There's no way. But that fucking earring, symbolic. She loses that fucking earring, but she's up. She's bleeding everywhere. But this girl, I mean, her head's ringing, but she's up and she's running pretty quick.
Oh, and then, yeah, there's a chase. This is very intense. And, you know, he's chasing her. He's still shooting, but he's having a really hard time aiming because his shoulder is fucking blown off. So trying to lift a gun is not the easiest thing. But by God, Roger, she knows that his shoe is off because when she was walking, she found his shoe. So she knows he's barefoot as well. I mean, this girl, so fucking smart. She bashes the flashlight against the wall, the cliff, so that glass falls on the ground. Big shards of flashlight glass. We're talking a big mag light. This is a huge mag. Oh my God. So he's running and he steps on the glass.
Oh,
This whole moment, Roger, I'm going to be 100% honest. I have never cringed or felt chills and just like, it from any scene in any film I've ever seen in my life. This is the worst thing I've ever watched in my life in terms of, I can't even explain it. I just like, oh my God, I'm shaking. I'm like, this is horrific. Talk about lingering. First of all, how fucking realistic does this look? Second of all, have you ever cut your foot open and realized how bad it hurts? This exact same thing, Roger, happened to me when I was a little kid. I went into a bathroom barefoot. My brother took me to a park, and I went into he told me to go into this bathroom, and there was a broken Bud bottle on the floor, and I stepped on a piece of glass, and it embedded itself into my foot. I still have the scar on the bottom of my foot. I had to go to the hospital. Meat was hanging out of my foot. I had to have stitches.
Oh,
I know.
Stop.
So this reminds me of that, and I'm going to tell you this scene. If you can watch this scene and not cringe, you're a much stronger person than I am, because we see him lift his foot up. That fucking gash is gushing out blood, and it's not bad enough. He starts digging in it. I know it is. This is the worst thing I've seen in my life, and I'm saying good way. But this. You want to say one scene in the history of cinema that makes me cringe, it's this one.
Listeners, when I say like this, okay, the audio to this is not doing you favors. If you could see how much my body is physically writhing, recoiling with disgust as Troy is explaining the scene to me, I have never seen a scene. I have had to first pause so many times. When I tell you I regurgitated vomit watching this scene, I am not bluffing. I am being serious. I literally, my ass is so, it's numb. My ass is tingling. You know when you see something that makes it's really hard to watch and your asshole like tightens up? My ass is puckered right now. Like I can't even begin to express to you how hard the scene is to watch. And I looked at it, like I was like, do not look away. But I kept having to pause it. And I was like, Roger, like how much more do you have in you? And he goes in there 3 times like he's fingering a clam. Like it's like you see the meat of the foot part and you like, there's one moment where he literally is like, he's like, I'm shutting my brain down. I'm getting this job done. And he's just staring ahead as he is putting his finger into this foot, and give this man an award for expressing pure agony in a way that I have not seen before. This scene is just unlike anything I've ever seen. It is horrific. I can't imagine someone making it through this scene okay. And if you do, there is probably something wrong with you. No offense, but you cannot be that numb to this level of just disgust. Unless you're a doctor. Maybe a doctor can watch this.
My body is like tingling and shivering right now. I was like clenching. I'm like tears in my eyes watching this, but it is saying that the effect is amazing. And the actor, yes, amazing. He is selling it. Not once, not twice, 3 times he reaches into this huge gash to dig out this piece of glass. And we see every minute, every second, every frame of it. Finally, he gets it and he pulls it out. Oh, and he starts to celebrate and laugh. And that's not even the worst of it though, because when he gets the glass out of his foot, I don't know how, but he runs, gets back into the truck and just has to try to start the truck and it won't start. So he has to push the pedal. With his foot, and when he's pushing the pedal, you can just, blood is gushing out and he's just screaming in agony. I'm like, oh God, no.
It's time for this man to die. Like this man, like he's done horrible things, but I cannot watch one person go through any more physical, like endure any more physical pain, because it truly is shocking what this man goes through. He's shot in the shoulder, his foot, you literally see the inside of his foot, the way the glass is in there. And then he's running on it, and yeah, I would be screaming like a fucking like chicken with that doesn't make sense. I would be screaming. What's something that screams a lot? What's something
a banshee?
I'd be screaming like something. I'd be screaming really loud with that fucking foot problem he's dealing with as he's trying to put the pedal on the gas or his foot on the gas pedal, trying to drive away. I understand what he does. I can't even put my words together because my eyes are watering, Troy. I can't even begin to properly express just how uncomfortable this whole series of events is to watch. It's the level of pain. And as he's pushing on the gas pedal, it's because he's in such agony, he can't actually push down. So he's having to force his foot down in order for the car to drive. And you're seeing blood just running down the pedal, and it's just like, it's even when you're not seeing the wound, you still know how bad this has to hurt, and he's just screaming through it. It's shocking. It really is shocking.
Well, he tries to run her down, and she is trying to drive and steer as best as he can, and she's in the middle of the road, and she's not backing down. And she does shoot once, and it misses him, and then he's like laughing maniacally, and he flicks her off and everything. But as he gets really close, I mean, he's about ready to mow her down. She fucking shoots him again, and it goes right through his fucking head, right through his fucking skull. We see the bullet emerge from the back of the seat, and he drops over dead in the car. The truck rolls to the side of the road, and she goes over to it and opens the door, and yeah, his brains are out of his head, and she admires her handiwork and like pulls him out onto the ground. And what's really interesting is at the same moment you hear Richard on the radio calling for him. Richard for Stan, and he's not answering. And then it cuts to Richard in the middle of the desert, like frantically radioing for Stan, and Stan's not answering. And you realize, right? I mean, we realize that Richard realizes that something's wrong because he basically has a breakdown in the middle of the desert, realizing that Stan's probably dead. So he gets on his motorcycle and drives back to the house, and we get that kind of cool shot of him, just a helmet on the motorcycle in the middle of the night with that synth score just going as he's driving back to the house.
I mean, this is over. We gotta acknowledge, like, this is not over a matter of a couple hours. This is almost like a day and a half. Like, she goes out there, it's nightfall, then it's the next day, and then he drives through the night, he gets back there in the morning. So, like, I mean, he's exhausted by the time he gets back, and understandably so. And I do love, like, the desperation when he finds the ATV. Like, he's been on the motorcycle that whole time. He was supposed to meet with Stan, so he's been cooking in the sun this whole time. He gets back there and he like dunks himself in the pool. Like, I mean, you could tell that even though he hasn't even encountered her yet, just the matter of the environment where they are takes its toll on you. So like that alone is something to acknowledge with what a badass she is. She's been surviving in these elements, not eating aside from what was in that bag. Like, I mean, this girl is superhuman.
No water. I mean, she had beer, I guess, but like, yeah, this is the desert. I do love the shot of him dipping his head into the pool with the helmet on. That's a cool thing. And then he pulls it off. But then he goes into this house and he's filthy, Roger. He's filthy. And what does he do? He sits on that beautiful white sofa.
Oh my God. But that shot, Troy. What a shot with the blue pillows that match his jacket. I specifically have a note about that shot. Impeccably decorated this house. He is ruining that sofa. You're absolutely right. I thought about the same thing.
Yeah. But he calls Roberto. Like, he does really call Roberto this time and is like, you need to pick me up as soon as I can. There's been a change of plans. The other two guys had to leave early. I just dropped them off at the airport. Can you please be here in a half hour? And Roberto says yes. This is the moment of the film. I mean, eye candy galore, because the man strips naked, completely naked, and gets into the shower. And we get that perfect shot of him standing under the shower head, that perfect ass. One of the nicest asses I've ever seen in a film. Just whew. And he's standing under the shower, and then he thinks he hears something. So he grabs his gun, and a long drawn out moment, Roger, of him going around every corner. And I mean, it builds some really great suspense because we know she's out there and we don't know like where she's going to be. And he's going through every room of the house until he gets out into the patio area and realizes what he heard was that fucking pool robot cleaner.
He's naked through this whole thing. Naked as a jaybird, by the way.
No, naked as a jaybird. He goes and gets the pool cleaner, walks in the pool. I mean, again, naked. He's outside with the gun, butt ass naked. He walks to the edge of the pool and kind of looks at the landscape. And he goes back inside, sits back down on the sofa. That fucking TV set turns on really loud. And I mean, talk about like, I don't know. It's this whole advertisement for like this American shopping network.
These two broads selling this, hawking their shtick. I mean, like, listen, I signed me up for that. That sounds like some good ass deals. Like, I mean, they got me for the, what is it? shopclubusa.com. And the one girl's talking, the other one's just standing there smiling like an idiot. But like they're the stars of the show for the rest of this, because this thing is running the whole time, the whole finale. These girls are squawking. But yeah, you got this long drawn up. She loves a long follow shot, and I love a long follow shot. And that follow shot of him going through the house, like you're hearing the wet footfalls as he's, he is naked and he is wet, he is exposed, but the camera's swooping all around him, changing perspective. Then he gets behind him for that perfect shot along the pool where, yeah, just ass in the camera. And she's just so intentional about how much male nudity she's showing, but it's so tastefully done because the visuals are so beautiful that like, it's shocking, but it's also just like, God, I'm just like basking in the glow of how beautiful this whole sequence looks. It's like, she's like, I'm going to give you nudity, but I'm going to make it as fucking exquisite as possible.
Oh yeah. And these final moments are just absolutely stunning. I mean, expertly crafted, because he gets up to turn the TV off. And when he gets up and turns around, she's outside right there, gun pointed at him. And you get this moment of like them like staring at each other, and she looks like she is like pissed off. He is just like looking like a fucking deer in the headlights. And finally he like starts to say something to her. He starts to say like, listen, and she fucking shoots him, pulls the trigger again, misses. I mean, she hits him, but she hits him right in like the side of the stomach and blows out a fucking big chunk of his side. And he goes down and it is bloody. And from this point forward, I want to know how many gallons of blood were used in this final sequence. Does this not remind you of the finale of The Substance? The amount of blood, just blood everywhere. She loves blood.
She loves a big messy finale, but like hits a lot of similar beats of a lot of the moments in The Substance too, and like the sense of like big shots of characters in the camera, first perspective in the camera, like they're just looming into it as like they're running through this really beautiful mansion. They're running all throughout it, and all these different perspective changes and making it feel like a maze, low angles, high angles, like playing with the depths of the building itself and how long these different hallways look and how it feels, making it just feel very distorted. Like she falls into a lot of these tricks, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like she's obviously got a unique set of tricks she likes to use to create a very distorted space, because it does start to feel like this big winding maze. And yeah, it does harken to the Substance harkens back to this, I suppose, in many ways, but specifically just the way she shoots a lot of this. But this pursuit, I mean, once she is off after him, because they have a showdown where he's basically hidden himself, but she sees the blood starting to ooze out on the floorboards. So she steps back and she starts to like run around. She's so smart. I fucking love her. But then he starts to take off too. And so they're basically playing this really intense game of cat and mouse where they're chasing each other through this building. And it's just so intense. It's like literally like gripping onto your couch or your chair, just like, holy fuck.
Yeah, I mean, the blood from his wound, he's good. He would have bled out, I would imagine, because there is blood from the walls become covered with blood, pools of blood on the floor. Yes, and there's that one moment where she's going to turn the corner. He's right there with the gun pointed right at her, waiting. And the other thing that saves her is, you're right, she sees the pool of his blood and she backs up, and they're just, a long, like, ring around the rosy, running around in circles until, unfortunately, she slips into a pool of his blood and she can't get up, and the gun goes sliding. And before she knows it, he is upon her and like bashes her in the face with the butt of the gun. And I love every time, like, a character is knocked out or something happens, like when her ear is shot off, like the sound effects match that. Like when she gets her ear blown off, we hear all the distorted audio. Like when she's knocked out at the beginning, we hear, all the voices are indistinguishable. The same thing happens here. Like when she comes to, he lifts her up and slams her against the wall, and she's trying to like make sense of it because she's still coming to. So she's hearing like garbled blah, 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 blah. We hear what he's telling her. He's like, who do you think you are, you stupid fucking bitch? You thought you could get those? Yeah, it might have been easier for you to win those two losers, but you were never going to beat me. And he's like, you're nothing but a whore. This could have ended if you would have just accepted what I offered you, but you had to fight. Women always had to fight. And he's just getting real aggressive. She finally like gets her wits about her, and right away fucking doesn't even hesitate to like punch and grab into his fucking wound and just dig into it and rip it open.
Oh God. Like this whole last bit in this hallway with her slipping in that blood, and she's, like, I don't fucking blame her. She's moving quick through this. So of course she's going to slip eventually, and she's trying to get up. Only reason he gets her is because she's just struggling in all this fucking blood. This fucker would have bled out right away. And he's still lifting girls off the ground. But okay, like, again, I can suspend my reality because it's so well handled. But, when she thinks to fucking be as quick as she thinks to do this, jabs him in the side like that, it's not like it's like something where she's down on the ground and he keeps getting the best of her. It happens for a brief moment. He gets her up there. You get that amazing shot as she's coming to of her perspective with the blood coming over the camera lens, and all the sound is just like, sounds like she's in a tunnel. It sounds, it feels, it looks like a head trauma. Like, because the blow to the skull that she took, she captures that perfectly. But yeah, she jabs her fingers in the wound. He goes down. She grabs the gun. She lifts it up, and like Troy, talk about a satisfying payoff. I mean, like, and in any other movie, I'd be like, go back for the head. But like, when you see this happen, I've suspended reality enough. When you see this happen and you see this fucker go down like a sack of potatoes, it is so satisfying.
Probably one of the most realistic after effects of a shooting I've seen. The way his body flies and he just flops onto the floor like a sack of potato. Yeah, like, and it's so realistic. Yeah, he gets over her. And there's that moment, like, he's on top of her. She has the gun. She cocks it, and you can see him look at her, and he's like, oh, shit. And yeah, she fucking pulls the trigger and shoots him right through the chest. Blood sprays his body, catapults against the back wall, and just collapses into this heap. Blood's everywhere. It's a fucking mess. Every inch of this fucking beautiful house is covered in blood now. He's dead. He deserves it. She goes out and kind of walks to the end of the pool. And we hear the helicopter come loudly. And the last shot is her turning around, kind of looking into the camera as we hear the helicopter loom. Lots of questions. Like, I guess we have to believe that Roberto is going to be a stand-up guy, right? And take care of her. That was my big question, is like, fuck it. If Roberto's friends with these fuckers, is he going to come and like kill her or what? We don't know. I'm assuming she's going to take care of herself like she did.
If I came upon this girl and saw what she had done to these other fucking men, I wouldn't even tempt fate. I'd be like, I'm taking you wherever you need to go. Whatever your story is, that's the story we're sticking to. Yeah, I mean, holy fuck. Like, the whole movie's breathtaking, but this last final act, it takes your breath away. And there's a lot of characters we've seen who really have get their just desserts, but there's few, I would say, that quite match just how fucking, and I keep using this word, but despicable this character Richard really is. I mean, like, and it's not like he does anything any different than in a lot of these other guys in these movies. It's the way he does it. It's the cockiness. It's the ego. It's the fact that it's very clear that he thinks he's better than this girl, and she shows him. Oh, does she show him? And this last moment of her walking along the pool and then turning around and looking all fucking gory and bloody, but still somehow looking sexy. I find it amazing how she can bask in like the disgust of it all, but still manage to create a beautiful and honestly sexy visual. Like, this woman is beaten. She's wounded. I love a worn, torn woman. I love a woman who's been through some shit. Give me a gal with an eye patch or a wooden leg and I'm on board. You know me. I like an elderly broad. I like her in a wife beater. I like her with a fake leg. And I'll watch a whole movie. One-legged broad with a shotgun. Give me 5 of them. But this gal, by the end of this, like, yes, she is weathered and worn, but she is still fucking standing. Another thing I like, bloody fannies. I'm going to say it. Listen, I wouldn't think it, but that last bit of him crawling around when she does the shot up his ass, like, through it down his legs where you see literally just the crevice of his ass and he's covered in blood. I don't give a fuck. Give me a bloody fanny any day. I can't think of many things hotter than a hot ass dude covered in blood. I don't know why. I don't want it to be real blood. I want it to be fake. But god damn,
you
Troy.
See his bloody penis too, dangling there. It's covered in blood too. But yeah, we should not be sexualizing this poor guy as his guts are pouring out of him. But no, I mean, what a refreshing, like, and I'm not saying this just as a gay man, but like, what a refreshing way to end this film, to have the man be the naked one, to have the man be in that vulnerable naked position, because almost every other rape revenge film we've seen, it's been the complete opposite.
Yeah. Every time. And it's something that I don't expect to get, male nudity in general, let alone to this degree. So it makes me feel like, I mean, and I know you'll feel this too, because you and I both really embrace nudity in cinema, but I think a lot of times there's such a taboo element that comes with it. Like, if you put nudity in your film, it loses something. And I don't agree with that. Like, I think nudity in cinema, especially in horror cinema or, moments of suspense or tension, can greatly add to the discomfort of it. And there's a time it stopped being sexy here and started being scary. It started being uncomfortable. And I appreciate that about this movie. It added to the film for me. And not just because the guy was hot.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I mean, it's, if nudity is great in a film, if it's for a purpose. And it's odd to me that there's a whole new like generation of film viewers that actually don't want nudity in a film. Like, I guess there's a whole poll with like younger audiences, like they think they don't want any nudity in a film. I guess, it kind of does go back to like the idea that for so long in cinema, females have been exploited. Female nudity definitely became like a trope. You're 100% right. The weight of male nudity in films versus female nudity in films is so unbalanced, so unbalanced. So maybe that's where that kind of perspective is coming from. It's grown from like the Me Too movement, where we need to stop exploiting women, and if you put them in your film and make them get nude, that's exploiting them. Which in some cases, absolutely, but I think again, if it's used properly and it drives the story, I think it's I don't necessarily have a problem with it, as you know. I mean, Hollow Lake, Meat, we both know are very much kind of embracing the concept of nudity and using it in a way that definitely enhances the plot, drives the plot.
Yeah, I really think this is just a masterclass. Like, if you're looking for a filmmaker who's like, this is how you take your first film and you make an impression. Like, I mean, I am so happy I watched this movie. I loved this film. I didn't just like this film, I loved it. I'm so happy that you selected this movie. I think we've had some great conversations, but I haven't been this like excited about a title, I think, in a hot minute. I mean, Chud was good times for all, but look, at the end of the day, Chud is Chud. This is something totally different. And I really just had the time of my life. And I owe it all to you, Troy. I owe it all to you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad, because again, I go back to what I said at the start of this episode. When I first saw this film, it blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And I even named it as my favorite, my favorite horror film of 2017 or 18, whenever it came available in the States. It was my number one. I absolutely loved this film. I mean, this film is bold. It's gorgeous, bloody. I've never cringed as hard in a scene as I did with that fucking foot scene. This film, if you haven't seen it, I hope, guys, that you didn't listen to this episode, but gosh, you got to let us know your thoughts on revenge and how, it's interesting because she's getting all this attention for the substance, which is deserved. But I don't know, if I had a gun to my head, if Jen was pointing a gun at my head and was like, which film is better? I would almost say this one is.
I mean, I don't know if I would say better. I like the fact that I feel like they were two different experiences, even though I got so many different aspects of her as a filmmaker that I saw mirrored in both films. Like, I still thought it was a very different film in general. So I don't feel like, I mean, I don't want to even say I think one is better. I think I love the message that's behind the substance. I love the message that's behind this. They're similar themes, but they are telling different stories. So yeah, I had a great time with this. I had a great time with the substance. We will go into that very soon on our next Patreon episode.
Horror fans, keep our fingers crossed that Demi Moore wins the Oscar for The Substance, because it would be a great thing for horror. I know she just lost the BAFTA award to Mikey Madison, who I love. I mean, Ghostface from Scream 5. So now people are like, oh, Mikey could win the Oscar now, but my fingers are still crossed for Demi. If Demi wins the SAG award this Sunday, guys, if you're into awards, the SAG awards are this Sunday. If she wins the SAG, I very much think she's going to win the Oscar. So let's keep that. Yeah. Let's pray for Demi Moore. Let's pray for Coralie Fargeat. Maybe she will win something. Yeah, with that, Roger, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I was really curious to see how you were going to react to it, knowing what it is, and I mean, glad you loved it. So, it is your pick for the next film, and I have no clue what you're picking. Just like you did not know I was picking this, so I have zero. Couldn't even begin to guess what you're picking.
Well, this is a film that there was a time we tried to cover this movie a very long time ago. I think it's the first film that broke our hearts, but now it's on Tubi. And I'm so excited to finally be able to discuss the A.J. Cook helmed slasher masterpiece that's known as Ripper Letters from Hell, because It's ripe for the picking. It's ready, Troy. You know that we can watch this now, right?
You know what? I saw it on Tubi like last week, and I almost messaged you and was like, "Oh, Roger, did you know that Letters from Hell was on Tubi and we could actually cover it?" Yeah, we were supposed to cover this there was that stretch where we did like early 2000s like foreign horror films, and we did The Pool, and The Nun, and we were supposed to do Letters from Hell.
Letter from Hell, yeah.
And we found out after we announced it, we found out we could not get it.
No.
It was available nowhere.
It was available until we went to do it. Remember, like, it was literally available the week prior, and then they pulled it. So, well, let's hope it doesn't happen again, because it's literally all come down to this one.
We better watch it soon. Yeah. So Letters from Hell, that's from like early 2000s. Yeah.
2001.
I'm excited to. Yeah, and there's a sequel too, isn't there? Something about
Ripper 2. Well, there's Ripper. It's Ripper Letters from Hell. Lest we forget. So, fans, I think you're gonna have to do your homework on this one. I don't know how many people out there are fans of Ripper Letters from Hell, but I was a fan. I mean, when this movie came out, I loved this film. I've not seen it in probably about 15 years.
I haven't seen it since it came out, so we're talking 25 years now. Okay, well, we are covering Ripper Letters from Hell, so pull up your Tubi and watch it before next week. So, and with that, let us know your thoughts on Revenge. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. We haven't got one in a while. Share with your friends. If you enjoy the podcast, give it a share on social media. Shout us out. Let's get some more listeners. Our numbers are looking quite good, which pleases me.
I'm very happy with how everything's going. And even though this year is off to a rough start, at least the podcast is not. So we've got some really great episodes as Ripper Letters from Hell is hitting. So get ready. 2025 is going to be a good one in some senses of the word.
Yeah, it will. There'll be some good stuff. We have Meat. We have Hollow Lake. We have a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. So with that, guys, good night.
Good night.